Oh man, this is an oldie but goodie. Overwatch, the best it's ever been, seriously. October 17th, 2020. What do you got to say, buddy?
You see me actually, right? Yeah, you gotta go to LS. Ready? What year is it, boys?
2017, baby. Was it 2018? Wait, what?
No, that was
like
Is that long ago?
I think it was 2016 actually.
Yeah, that was
Oh my god.
Season 2,
Yeah,
2016.
I think it was.
Hey everybody. I find myself in late 2020, some reason or another, playing Overwatch regularly again, and I am very surprised. In previous patches or metas, or historically with Overwatch, it's pretty common, you know, you go through a long queue time, you load up the game, you pit tab, and you take a quick peek at your team comp, and you go, okay, looks like they got double bear and we don't, or looks like they got brig and we don't, or looks like they have roadhog and then we don't. Wow, I guess we lost. GG, or we're screwed. See you later. GG. Go.
Let me give you the real-time equivalent of that today. In certain metas, on a brig, certain metas, aka the manga meta, on a Kiri, that brig, whatever tank flavor of the week has been going on, whether that was Sigma meta for that long time, or sorry, not that long. It was a decent long time. Orisa, they have an Orisa, we don't. GG. Or certain maps like Circle Royale, oh, they have a really good Widow, we're dead. Oh, or Sojourn Mercy, where the Sojourn Mercy is running around the entire map, has 67 kills. GG.
Go next. And in the current patch of Overwatch, I am very happy to report that I don't really do that right now. And that's pretty crazy. It is probably one of the most balanced patches I have seen in Overwatch's history, and I say that as somebody who's been playing since beta. And do note, by the way, I'm talking specifically about ladder play. I'm sure pros will figure out a way to break the game, but it feels like every character on ladder, all the way up to the highest MMR, until about maybe like top 50 or 100 or something, is extremely viable. I mean, hell, Soldier 70...
I want to take notice really quick, chat. This is October of 2020. No new heroes got added after this point.
76 just got buffed this week, and I'm seeing Soldier 76 almost every single game, which is super nostalgic because I haven't seen Soldier 76 regularly played at high MMR since like 2017, back during Triple Tank, and seeing a Nano Visor run at me in 2020 is pretty terrifying. It feels that most team comps I see on the ladder right now are very map specific. So like, for example, I'll play...
I know I look over at chat and says the meta for Owl is very map dependent. I remember it. And then Seal says...
Team comps I see on the ladder right now are very map specific. So like...
Oh, Chav, you've been here for a long time. What is the things that I say the most? Overwatch is at its most fun when there's a map-based meta.
For example, I'll play Reaper on Anubis. And then maybe it'll be King's Row. So I'll play Hanzo or Mei. And then maybe we'll go to Hanamura. So I'll play Torb. Or perhaps we'll go to Rialto and I'll go back to Mei, or maybe even Pharah on Nepal. There is so many options, and do note, by the way, I'm a DPS player, so I'm talking mostly about my examples there of DPS, but there's also...
Yeah, I love Circle Royale. Okay, I know what you mean, what you're saying. Like, I know you're kind of memeing with, like, you know, Widow and Circle Royale, you know, like... But, like, realistically, like, what holds Circle Royale so much together is the snipers plus, like, Sigma, like, poke. You know, that being like the strongest meta on that map. But that it's also like, it's more than that. It's like oppressive on that map because it's not just, oh, snipers are strong here. Like Havana is a good old example. Like snipers were super strong on Havana, but they were beatable without snipers because of double shield. There is no way to beat the supercharged Widow Sojourn on Circle Royale, so it doesn't feel the same, but I know what you mean.
True for tanks and supports as well, which is something that historically in Overwatch has not been the case, and this why I think this patch is truly something special. I've seen almost all support duos, including Brigitte, by the way, to be used and very common. I've seen Zen Mercy, I've seen Ana Lucio, I've seen Moira Lucio, I've seen Bap Zen, I have seen like you name it, I have probably seen it, and this is also true of tanks. For tanks, I've seen Overwatch League players run at me and completely stop me, by the way. You running double barrier, even though they just got nerfed into the ground. I've seen Winston Zarya. I've seen Ryan Zarya. I've seen Winston Diva. I've seen Sigma Hog. Hammond plus anything in the game because ball is crazy. It feels
Those are all the tank
like in the
matchups.
current patch, anything can work depending on the map
I think the dreaded Hog Zarya meta came after this, if I remember correctly.
and how good you are at playing it, and what your teammates can also play to synergize with it. And this is something really, really crazy because historically in Overwatch, as many know, and something I've complained about quite a lot has been you bring the character that's really, really good and not what you're very good at. Rather, it's about picking the right character, not the character you want to play or the one that you're really, really good at.
That's very important because there's a lot of people in today's Overwatch 2, especially casual players, that believe that's how the game should be played, and that's why it feels shit. How often do you see a random TikTok out there, right? Or a random Twitter clip of someone doing something or playing something or whatever, and they're like, I saw one, I think like the other day, where it was just like someone was asking for heals, and it was like, how dare you ask the Mercy for heals? They were clearly advancing with your diva. What the f are we, the Roman Legion advancing? What the f are you talking about? But like, but people also have these weird ideologies where they say like, well, you're playing Winston into Brig. What do you think is going to happen? Yes, if I am the #1 Winston in the world and I'm up against 4200 shitter or GM2 shitter Brig player, I should be able to beat his ass. I don't care if Brig is pretty good against Winston. Like, if there's a small win for the Brig on that side, it shouldn't be to the point where I literally can't take high ground because the Brig's just going bonk, 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 and then the second I do go, rally to me, boom, boom, just into the shadow realm. You know what I mean? Like, you hit 3 buttons. You hit 3 buttons. Like, you know what I mean? So, like what the man? And that is so true with today's Overwatch because we have, drumroll please, counter swap meta. We all talk about the tank metas, right? Just the counter swap meta, and then supports counter swap tanks. You just sit there and play the counter swap meta. You pick the hero that is better instead of playing the hero better. As we've lost track of where we're supposed to be.
You bring the character that's really, really good and not what you're very good at. Rather, it's about picking the right character, not the character you want to play or the one that you're really, really good at. Because that character might be so good or so overpowered that you have to pick them. An example is Brigitte on launch, or Moth Mercy, or Orisa during Double Barrier, or Orisa Sigma, right? Or more recently, Genji in that 1 month he was OP, or Roadhog in that 1 month he was also super OP. That's usually how Overwatch works, and how it's worked for many years. But I am very, very happy to say that after I have been playing in this current patch for about a month now, so do keep in mind, it is still relatively fresh, but after over a month, we still have not come to that same level of insanity yet. In almost every game, I see a massive hero diversity, and I'm willing to say that it is probably one of the best metas of all time for ladder that I have ever seen since Overwatch beta, and that is crazy. Do note, of course, I'm not saying that it's completely perfect. Like, there's some characters that are still like not very good. For example, Bastion will probably always be like niche. McCree, our favorite cowboy, is in kind of a rough spot right now. Same thing with Orisa, as well as also bad. But for the most part, I've seen almost every other character.
That's true. There was some characters that, yeah, who? This is before the rename. This is before all of this. That's how old this is. There were characters that were not the best, but here's the problem though. Like, people were so sick of playing Orisa that because Orisa wasn't that good, like, nobody played her. Like, she was still playable, but why would you play Orisa?
A regular basis on ladder, and that's pretty nice. While this current meta is great, I also think it's important to quickly run down what Blizzard has done right in the past year or so to get the game to this incredible state, so that way, when Overwatch 2 launches,
holy shit, I didn't remember
whatever
this was
that
in
may
there.
be, they can do it again.
We have an archive of this?
to quickly run down what Blizzard has done right in the past year or so to get the game to this incredible state, so that way when Overwatch 2 launches, whenever that may be, they can do it again. First, Blizzard started experimenting hard. Like, literally, they added the experimental card, which allowed players to give rapid feedback without having to go all the way to PTR, and it allowed Blizzard to also do crazy experiments and not worry about it too much. For example, we got to see that crazy 2CP change, and they also even did an entire...
What was the crazy 2CP change? I don't remember.
Season of an experimental change with hero pools. Not being afraid to change crazy things allows them to figure out what's actually wrong. 2 is more frequent balancing.
By the way, I want you guys to take that to heart. Crazy changes allows them to learn what might be wrong. Don't forget about that. That's a good thing. Granted. It was the OT spawn? You're right. It was the OT spawn. You're right. Okay. That's very important. Granted, I still think they should probably use the experimental card instead of just like dropping shit in for super crazy stuff. But again,
crazy things allows them to figure out what's actually wrong. 2,
I think like quick play hacked was a good example of having quick play because people wouldn't have ever used the experimental card for it. But like super changes, you know what I mean? Like any major changes.
2 is more frequent balancing. Previously,
Whoa, what was that, buddy? Hang on, the ghost of the past from 4 years ago. What'd you say?
for example, we got to see that crazy 2CP change, and they also even did an entire season of an experimental change with hero pools. Not being afraid to change crazy things allows them to figure out what's actually
What was that?
wrong.
Hang on.
2 is more frequent balancing. Previously, in 2018 and 2019 especially, their patch cycle was every 30 days, which meant if you didn't get a balance patch...
Can we hear that again?
Previously, in 2018 and 2019 especially,
2018 and 2019.
their patch cycle was every 30 days, which meant if you didn't get a balance patch, or say there wasn't a change that you liked in that balance patch, you'd have to wait an entire month to get to the next one.
Holy shit, it's almost like we deal with that today. Seagull always knows the future? No. The bird is very smart, don't get me wrong. But this isn't about knowing the future. This is about history always repeating itself.
Blizzard doubled that in 2020, and they increased...
What did I say at the beginning of this, by the way? Well, before we started watching? What did I say they did? They put it to every 2 weeks?
every 30 days, which meant if you didn't get a balance patch, or say there wasn't a change that you liked in that balance patch, you'd have to wait an entire month to get to the next one. Blizzard doubled that in 2020, and they increased it from 1 bounce patch per month to 2 bounce patches per month. 3. This is...
Wow. I understand. I'm not every person's cup of tea. I'm a little abrasive. I'm a Bostonian. It's in my blood. I'm sorry, dude. Piss off. But this is... We've been here for years, dude. Typically, the people that have been around for a long time are probably the most jaded, probably have seen the most shit just happen over and over, and it's crazy. Right? Like, this is insane. This is what... this is a point of Overwatch's history where things were really good. We literally went full circle. We're all the way back again. This is the stuff that made it good when people were enjoying Overwatch again, before Overwatch 2 even came out. We don't do them. We don't do them. We just have Overwatch 1 copy and pasted in a 5v5 format. And that's why everybody argues if 5v5 or 6v6 is better, because we can't tell because it's the same shit.
To 2 bounce patches per month. 3. This is probably the most important one in my mind. They weren't afraid to nerf characters. AoE sustain historically and death balls have become overly strong, starting with Brigida's launch, otherwise known as power creep, and it took over 20 nerfs for her to get in a good spot.
It all comes back.
In response, they buffed all the DPS characters in 2018 and 2020. Literally every DPS character except Doomfist and Widow was buffed from 2018 to 2020. This led us to this really awkward position as a game where I personally believe the fundamentals of Overwatch changed from its FPS roots and more into the realm of like WoW Arena, right? We have cooldown based gameplay with our cooldowns being ultimates and tons of burst damage and also shields in our case. And of course, what was the fix? Well, they just nerfed the crap out of everything and they reset the game back to a normal good state. They cannot be afraid to nerf characters in the future, especially as Overwatch 2 will more than likely launch with a ton of new characters that will probably be totally crazy. I mean, let's be honest, it's going to be a totally new game, especially, but in the meantime, though, it is going to be honestly very boring waiting for Overwatch 2.
Okay, a ton 3. I'm not talking about the amount of heroes at the launch. Okay, we all know that's kind of hilarious. I'm talking about the fact that Sojourn was broken, Junker Queen was broken for a little bit, but then got nerfed back really quickly. Kiriko to this day, depending on who you ask, is still broken. Ramatra was broken for like a month after. Okay, so he came out, he was terrible for 2 weeks. Then they buffed him, then he was broken for about a month because, again, patch cycles being really slow. Then Lifeweaver came out, was trash. Then Ilaria came out, was busted for about a month or so. It was about the whole season, but the first month was really busted. And then Maga came out.
Release, but at the very least, we're in this extremely balanced state right now on ladder, and it's sort of like this golden era where we know because there is no more content coming to Overwatch 2, Echo is the last released character until Overwatch 2, and we have quite a ways to go. At least we're in a relatively balanced position where most people are having fun. And so even though we're going to be really bored until Overwatch 2 comes out, at least we aren't shooting at shields literally all day or playing into goats, and that makes me very happy. So I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of the video. Until next time.
Yeah, I think the rest is just his gameplay, right? Why is this the most replayed?
My team's dead. What do we do? Team's dead. What do we do? What? How did you know I was there? Okay. Did he watch me go there? Oh, they had a Sonic! The Sonic's in my head! I was like, oh shit!
Right here.
Hey, just play high ground at the doors. Yeah.
The rest is just gameplay. History repeats itself. And Overwatch being in the shitter about with a lot of things, even though we know good stuff is on the way in the future, it just takes too long. In the really big rubber banding of back and forth of like, and I joke about it because it's funny. People haven't caught on that it's a joke yet of we're so back and then we're so not back. Like, that's the point. It's supposed to wake you the up. It's supposed to show you that you're not supposed to be swinging back and forth so fast. It should be somewhat consistent. And it's either a somewhat consistent climb or a somewhat consistent fall with small like changes in between. We can't be swinging up and down this hard. If you do, people get tired. People get fatigued and they don't want to fucking deal with it anymore, man. So, I don't know. I think this is a very very starch reminder of what the past can show us. Is what it is, I guess.